Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tackling one of the absolute biggest boardroom dilemmas of our time, and that is this weird paradox of massive AI investment but shockingly low visible returns. I mean, we're all seeing the incredible advancements in generative AI, right? But as organizations literally pour millions into these technologies, leadership keeps asking a simple but honestly incredibly difficult question: is it actually working? So today, we are unpacking exactly how to build an auditable line of measurement that solves this multi-million-dollar problem. Let's just dive right in.
Let's kick things off with a pretty wild statistic. According to McKinsey's latest global survey on AI, 72% of organizations have adopted AI in at least one business function. That is a massive, massive wave of adoption. But, and this is a huge but, only 11% report a significant bottom-line impact. So you have to ask, what's happening to the other 61%? Well, they're caught in what we call the pilot trap. They're endlessly releasing these AI experiments that honestly might look really cool, but they just never scale up to create real enterprise value.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll briefly hit the AI ROI dilemma, shift over to AI efficacy, and then walk step by step up the 5 foundational layers, starting from tech and users, moving through operations, all the way up to the financial apex and governance.
Okay, Section 1, the AI ROI dilemma, or what I like to call activity versus value.
We really need to understand the gap here between AI activity and actual organizational impact. Right now, a lot of companies are deploying AI in ways that are super visible, basic chatbots, document summarizers, but they aren't necessarily valuable. They generate a ton of technical activity, sure, but activity is absolutely not the same thing as value. As one of our sources brilliantly puts it, AI can definitely make work faster, but faster doesn't mean ROI. Think about it. If your team drafts a contract 30% faster, but then a senior manager has to spend 2 hours fixing AI hallucinations, you haven't saved a single dime. You've literally just relocated the bottleneck. If we only measure speed, we completely miss whether the work actually hits the P&L.
Moving right along to Section 2, shifting to AI efficacy.
To fix this whole dilemma, we have to shift our mindset from tracking simple technical performance to measuring true AI efficacy, and there is a massive distinction here. AI performance, well, that basically lives in the lab. It asks, does the model function? It's looking at technical accuracy, latency, throughput. AI efficacy, on the other hand, lives in the real world. It asks, does this system actually achieve our intended organizational outcomes? It's the difference between a model that, say, successfully summarizes a document and a system that actually reduces your customer support resolution time by 2 full days. Efficacy is a holistic assessment of real-world impact.
Furthermore, as an executive team, we've got to stop drowning in a sea of metrics and start focusing on KPIs. Look, in the enterprise measurement stack, a metric is really just any measurable signal a system emits. You could track dozens of them. But a key performance indicator, a KPI, is the number you are actually willing to be judged on by the board. It is deliberately tied to a business objective. For example, query volume, that's a metric. A 30% reduction in claims processing cycle time, now that is a KPI. Metrics inform, but KPIs commit.
So to systematically capture all this value, we use McKinsey's 5-layer framework. This is what creates that auditable line of evidence from the code all the way to the cash. We build from layer 5, the foundational tech, up through user adoption, operational changes, and strategic outcomes, hitting the absolute apex at layer 1, the ultimate financial impact. Let's walk through this stack to see exactly how it builds.
Section 3, the foundation, tech and users. Because, let's be real, the most brilliant model in the world is totally useless if your employees refuse to use it.
Starting right at the base with Layer 5, technical performance. Think of these as the health stats of your AI. We're looking at things like hallucination and error rates, response latency under load, token cost per interaction, and performance drift over time. This foundational layer just ensures the system is functioning reliably and safely. But we have to keep moving up, because while technical health is totally necessary, it is definitely not sufficient on its own to prove business value to the board.
Which brings us to Layer 4, user adoption and engagement. Honestly, this is so often the missing link in failed deployments. This layer tracks whether employees are actively using and, crucially, actually trusting the AI tools in their daily workflows. We are not just looking at login counts here. Those are total vanity metrics. We want to see workflow penetration, engagement depth, and AI acceptance versus override rates. Because if users are constantly overriding the AI suggestions, your operational KPIs are going to flatline. Your ROI will literally be zero.
And check out how accountability shifts right here. Layer 5 is owned by data science and engineering. They build and maintain the model's health. But Layer 4? That's owned by product and frontline leaders. Engineering builds the thing, but product and frontline leaders actually have to make people use it. They are completely responsible for ensuring the tool is embedded into the human workflow. You know, an engineering team can't force a frontline worker to trust a tool. That is 100% a leadership and change management challenge.
All right, Section 4, the bridge layers, operations and strategy. Let's see how that daily boots-on-the-ground usage actually bridges the gap to our broader goals. Layer 3 is operational KPIs. This reveals if AI is actually improving how day-to-day work gets done, moving us from just human behavior to real business processes. We're pulling metrics directly from frontline systems here. Cycle time reduction, lower defect and rework rates, higher first contact resolution. If your users are adopting the AI, but these operational metrics just aren't moving, well, this acts as a massive diagnostic tool. It essentially tells you the AI is active, sure, but it isn't actually making the process any better.
Moving up to Layer 2, strategic outcomes. Now we are speaking the language of the C-suite. We're taking daily ops and translating them into the long-term value creation your executive team actually cares about. Is the AI driving meaningful shifts in business performance? At this layer, we track progress against specific business unit goals and customer outcomes. So we're looking at things like Net Promoter Score, overall customer satisfaction, on-time delivery, and customer retention.
And just like before, watch that ownership move up the chain. Process owners hold the bag for Layer 3, making sure those operational workflows are genuinely more efficient. Layer 2, meanwhile, is owned by the business unit general managers or strategy leads. They're the ones who have to take that operational efficiency and translate it directly into strategic market advantages.
Section 5, the financial impact apex.
We have finally made it to the absolute top of our pyramid, Layer 1, financial impact. This is where all that underlying performance, all the adoption, and the operational changes culminate. This layer shows whether the AI system is delivering measurable enterprise value and economic outcomes. It translates all those operational improvements into financial metrics tied straight to the P&L. We're talking top-line revenue uplift, cost-to-serve reductions, margin expansion, and of course, tracking the total cost of ownership, which definitely includes your cloud and token spend, because we built the foundation properly through the lower layers. This financial ROI number isn't some illusion anymore. It's an auditable, completely defensible reality.
And naturally, the finance team and FP&A own this top layer. They hold the ultimate scorecard for the enterprise's AI investments. If a board member looks at you and asks, "Is our AI working?" the finance team can point right to Layer 1 for the financial return and then trace any potential issues all the way down through strategy, operations, adoption, and tech to explain exactly why it is or isn't working. And finally, Section 6, governing the value stack.
Look, building the stack is a fantastic achievement, but it's really only half the battle. We have to govern and protect it over time. Models can suffer from drift, meaning their accuracy silently degrades over time. We also have to heavily guard against metric gaming, which is known as Goodhart's Law. That's the idea that when a measure becomes a target, it completely ceases to be a good measure. Seriously, if you only measure adoption by logins, people will literally log in and log out just to hit their targets so they can go to lunch. It happens all the time. We absolutely need federated KPIs, continuous automated evaluation, and smart adaptive metrics to prevent gaming the system and to ensure we are always optimizing for true value.
So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought to mull over as you review your own enterprise AI deployments. Look at your dashboards, look at your KPIs, and ask yourself honestly, is your AI actually working, driving that auditable line of value from technical health all the way up to bottom-line financial impact? Or is it just active, burning tokens and time without actually moving the needle? By applying this 5-layer framework, you can finally move beyond the illusion of activity and start capturing real, measurable value. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this helps you build a much more effective AI strategy.